Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler, and in the most recent competition that I went to, I was able to secure the top spot, and I actually won against my fellow RC competitors. Super awesome. It was really fun, but there's still two awesome courses that I got footage of, and I want to share that with you guys and talk about what I did right and what I did wrong, because even if you win, there's always room for improvement for next time. Which brings up a great point. I've been watching and studying these videos in addition to sharing them with you guys, and I've really been paying attention to what I've done wrong and trying to improve myself as I go. So there's been a combination of the past events that I've been going to. I'll focus on one specific thing to do better, and in this one, I put it all together, and I may have gotten a little lucky, but at the same time, I was able to put it all together, and it was really awesome. Super excited to have my first RC competition win. Even if it was against 10 other drivers, it wasn't for cash or anything like that. It was just bragging rights, but that's all right too. Out there with my friends on the rocks, and I was able to dodge cones a little bit better on today's specific event. Real quick, we'll just cover the real basics of the competition. They count backing up as points. They count hitting cones as points. They count using winch as points. Backing up is 1 point, winch is 3 points. If you roll your truck up onto its roof and you have to tip it back onto its tires, that is 5 points. If you have to completely reposition your truck, I believe that's like 20 points or 15 points, something pretty significant like that. Another thing, I showed up early morning for this competition and actually ran a Class 1 course with my spare parts truck before I ran Class 2. The courses were different. They did change some gates. You will see different chalk circles that are a narrower gate. That was for Class 1, and then Class 2 has the wider gates. So I ran similar courses. They were definitely not the same, and a couple of them, they switched the directions of the gates, which dramatically changed the effect of having the gate there. So Class 2 was absolutely some tough courses here. On this particular day, it was a very cold morning. It was about 29 degrees when we showed up, so it was only me and two other people in Class 1, which is why I didn't decide to film anything for that. But Class 2, the rest of the crew showed up. We had 10 drivers compete, and this is what happened out there on the course. For Class 2, I am driving my SCX-10-2 C-channel chassis based rig. This one has a bunch of upgrades from Rock Pirates RC. You will see their stickers all over my truck. I am a team driver for Rock Pirates RC, and their parts really increase performance on the SCX-10-2s, as evidenced in this video. This truck kicks ass for what it is, and I am able to be competitive against the flat rail guys who show up to the competitions as well. Quick basics on the truck: Savox monster brushless servo. It's got a Reefs 299 LP winch in that Rock Pirates servo winch tray. It's running steel rock sliders that are fit to the Power Wagon body just perfectly from Rock Pirates RC. The bed on the back, again, Rock Pirates RC. Shock towers in the rear, Rock Pirates RC. I'm using a full droop suspension, using different Desert Lizard shocks and custom spring setup. I don't really want to get into that here. It takes a long time to explain. 2.2-inch wheels with 1.9 tires stretched onto them, so the overall height is still 4.75. AR44 axles using the Element transmission with the 11% overdrive in the transmission to the front axle. And it's running a brushless Hobbywing Fusion system in there. Well, that about covers it, guys. Let's go ahead and pull up the footage from the competition, and I'll talk about what I did right and what I did wrong. Real quick, here at the start, you'll see one of my tires in the start box. That's because the rules are written that you only have to have one tire in the start box. Working our way into gate 1, there is that extra chalk circle you see there. That was the Class 1 gate. Now this is where driving it with Class 1 beforehand was a little bit of a benefit, knowing that I'm not gonna make it up this ledge with this truck, and I end up winching right out of gate 1. But you notice I didn't waste a bunch of time sitting there trying and potentially flip my truck over or hit a gate. I just called for the winch, got it hooked up, and decided to move on up the hill. This is going back to what I have learned in previous competitions of don't use your winch too much, but at the same time, I had a shootout competition where I timed out on the shootout course because I didn't use my winch. So I knew to just go ahead and get the winch out, get things rolling so I can move on towards gate 2. This gate puts you out close to a ledge where you don't want to roll off of, because there's no good way back up to where you started from if you fell off. Luckily, just getting the chassis to kind of pop up over that ledge barely made it happen, but got lucky, was able to get through 2 clean. This one I was worried about just from looking at, because I know the capabilities of my truck, and just looking at this ledge, I was real confident it was going to need a winch. I tried to crawl it, tried to get up there, but throttle in situations like these. With the cones right there, it just makes it tough, and where the cones were exactly set made it even harder to try and use throttle to bump up this obstacle. Shout out to my buddy Bucket for helping me with the winch stick on these courses. He was helping me getting that thing put where I needed to get my truck winched up all these obstacles. Couldn't have done it without you, man. I appreciate it. You might notice I am using that zip tie out of that Rock Pirates RC bed just to hook that winch cable back onto, give it a little bit of tension. One reason I'm using that is because if it's hooked to the back of your bed like that, that actually helps you get more cable out quicker. I was trying to drive over to a different area to do a U-turn and ended up having to take a backup anyway, and then follow that up with another backup here. So at the top of gate 3, I should have just taken the reverse to start with and saved myself the time. Gate 4 was real tough. You had this V-notch you're supposed to stay balanced in, but if you were on the right wall at all, you will hit gate number 4, particularly when the rear end comes through. So at a certain point, you kind of just need to say, okay, I'm hitting the gate, commit to it, and work your way out of there. Right here, having a little bit of trouble navigating the course. I thought gate number 6 was next, and gate number 5 happened to be the next one. You'll notice I'm moving around to where I'm at so I can see exactly where my tire placement's going to end up, get a better view of my truck going through these obstacles. It's very beneficial to have the best view possible as you work your way through here. You'll also notice I'm using the throttle to try and get my truck to rotate. So drive in as far as I think I can, and then gas on, gas off, trying to get that truck to hop just a little bit to help it pivot. And you can see that rear end sliding right around and giving me that sharp corner that I was looking for. Now right there, I turned right to give myself a little more room to turn into this obstacle. I liked my lineup here, however that ledge on that back right really threw me through a loop, and that back left ledge pulled me off the wall. So right here's my last chance. I knew I had to push hard into that little ledge on the right side with that front tire, as well as give it a little throttle as it started to slide down the wall to keep pressure up on that right wall. The only way you're going to make it through this gate is to keep that right tire real high, as well as you got to drive it even higher than you're comfortable with to get the rears through. I barely squeaked through here, and I don't think I saw anyone else hit quite the same line that I was able to on that. You'll see a boundary marker line on this rock here. We are free to ignore that because that was for class 1. Totally different gate there. Again, using the throttle to try and get that truck to rotate. Again, the different chalk lines for class 1 and class 2. This is a fun gate. It doesn't really show up on camera that well. Right here, this is a very sideways rock formation, and I'm about to tip all the way off of this thing, which is never good. So I'm watching the truck, thinking about what my options are. I go ahead and just give it some throttle in reverse, swing it out of there, work the front end down to this flat ledge, which also helps level out the rear axle, which is going to keep the truck more planted as I work my way up this gate. However, this front end's starting to work its way over a little bit, as well as the suspension's starting to unload. I decided, you know what, it's time to get the winch back out. This thing's going to pull my suspension right back down, and it's going to help me get up between this gate nice and clean. It's always worth taking a few points to winch and get through a gate clean. Now you don't want to winch and also hit the gate. Right through here, also belly dragging through there. Don't have quite the breakover angle necessary, so having that winch was a huge benefit for that as well, just to drag the truck up and over that. It was a pretty straight pull, so it didn't really rotate the truck or anything, so no big deal there. Working our way out the top towards the bonus gate, trying to hit this on just the right angle. That driver front is on the outside of the ledge. Had to work it to get it up on top of that rock. Just steer clear of that left side cone. Turning left, trying to get that truck to pivot up on top of the ledge, but the weight transfer and the suspension, as well as the overhang on that back right tire, just tries to roll this truck over on its side. So I decided, you know what, go ahead, grab the winch, use my safety line. I've got it there for a reason. Hook it up, get ourselves some bonus points for getting through this gate nice and clean. Did it fairly quickly. Again, in the heat of the moment, you need to make decisions quick. That's very important in the full-size world that I learned, as well as the small-scale stuff. You don't have a lot of time. These courses were 8-minute time limits each, And then right here, I decide too late that I want to back down this gate. So I end up taking an extra reverse where I didn't really want to, but after the first one, the second reverse, I was quite a ways from the gate, so I had lots of time to get myself lined up to get down through gate number 9. I am up on the belly and the rock sliders of my truck, so it's not moving quite as fluid as I would have liked. Trying to get it up on there. There we go, got through nice and clean. Trying to steer my rear axle closer to gate 10. Now this boundary chalk line is live, so I do not want to touch it. I made sure I left myself a little bit of room. Using the throttle to try and get that truck to pivot up and around. That trick works really well when you're on weird angles like trying to climb a hill or something. Using the old trick of wiggling the servo to try and get the front end to shift over. That's where having a fast servo is really key. Like that Savox Monster brushless servo, helping me get through this course. And before things get too crazy, I go ahead and just hook up my lifeline on that winch. I don't want my truck rolling unexpectedly. I can see that it's starting to get unsettled. And just throwing on the winch to get through gate 10 nice and clean. I think I ended up taking out gate number 4 on this course, which I believe is the only one I saw all the way through here. So definitely a solid run after running course number 1. So that's a very important piece of this story. After course number 1, I was feeling real confident. I was really happy with what I put together there. I used my winch a few times, but I was able to get through those gates nice and clean. I picked up the bonus gate as well, so that was awesome. I did end up skipping over one of the bonuses. I think I just honestly forgot to go and hit it, but real happy with how that run went. So going into course number 2, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling good. Even before I showed up to this competition this day, I just had some confidence with me. I was feeling good about the event, and I was really feeling like I had what I needed mentally to get in there and be very competitive and try and get myself the top spot. So going into course number 2, everything's looking good. We're gonna go see how things went for me on course number 2. I know this might be an interesting point to bring this up, but I saw it sitting on my desk here and I want to share with you guys. If you're curious how I am recording this while driving, it's because I have my GoPro mounted to my controller. This is a Flysky GT5 and they have holes in the handle there. And I run a GoPro handlebar mount through the controller holes. And then, yeah, I run the GoPro right out front just like this. The antenna here, you can move up out of the way depending on what angle you're looking for. And then most of the time anyway, I can drive one-handed. My thumb reaches the steering wheel, no problem. Got the throttle control, and I can use my right hand to use the potentiometers up top or just whatever else I need. On the bottom of this controller, I've got a Joe Ropes little lanyard here. This thing's super handy and it unbuckles so you can hang the lanyard around your neck so that in a competition, when I'm winching, I can just let go of the controller and it'll fall down onto me. I don't drop it onto the ground, as well as I don't scratch my camera lens. So I really like this little thing. I like it more than I thought I was going to. So check out Joe Ropes. He's a really cool dude. I ended up going rock crawling with him down here in southern Utah. He and his crew, great bunch of guys, really awesome to go wheeling with. And they're just a bunch of RC guys just like you and me. And they're really fun to hang out with. Now, getting into course number 2, let's go check out run number 2, guys. All right, one thing I want to point out before we get rolling was that I had run a few of these obstacles in a similar fashion in class 1. So there's a few areas where that was a benefit to me for showing up early in the cold weather and learning what some of the lines were just to get progression towards a gate. So right here from the start gate over to gate number 1, there's a technical climb, but going up that in my class 1, I learned where I needed my tire placement a little bit. Obviously class 2, different truck, it's gonna drive a little bit different, but this one's honestly more capable, so it made this climb a little bit easier. But running different classes may actually help you depending on which courses they end up being and who's running your local courses. This time it was a benefit for me, so just wanted to share that. Got one tire in the start box. Judge is telling me I am ready on my go. Here we go. Going in here, taking this left-hand turn. I knew that I had to get my front tires up on that first ledge right there. And then I had to turn driver and let the truck rotate and follow that crack on up to the top. That's exactly what I did with my class 1 after some work, and it worked just fine on the class 2. So right there, trying to use my steering to kind of kick my front end off that ledge, as well as help that truck rotate, because I need to get the front end shifted further driver towards the camera to get the front passenger tire to clear that cone, but then I need to turn hard passenger once the fronts are through to help that rear get through. Give it some throttle so that it doesn't have time to slip into the cone, and off we are running over to gate number 2. This one I had watched 2 guys go before me, and this is a real, you gotta bump it up at obstacle. Gave it full throttle, truck just didn't want it. Luckily it kicked me off, which is actually a good thing because I got to completely re-square up to this obstacle, get my front tires up again, and bump it hard without using a reverse. Finally got the front end up and sticking. However, I'm not lined up well for the gate, so I'm trying to use my steering to try and get the truck to shift over a little bit. The judge was asking if I wanted to use a winch. With my rear tires up there, I did not want to use a winch because if it started pulling me, it's going to pull me right into the cone. If I had to use a winch, I did exactly what I intended to. I dropped down to the bottom of that obstacle and got me squared up for the gate to just drive on up it. So that's something like you may have thought you would want to keep your truck as close to the gate as possible before you start your winch. I went ahead and just let the truck settle on down. I knew with a winch it would crawl right up it, that's no problem. But there we go, getting through gate number 2. Had to grab a winch, but got through clean. Now, from what I was told by the course designers originally, this was a bonus gate that was going to go through some water. Today was a very cold morning, the water had dried up a little bit, but there is some serious mud down in there to get on your tires and ruin all your traction. However, if you paid attention to look pre-walking the courses like I did, the next gate, you're going to drive through dirt and mud anyway to get to that gate. So having mud on your tires really didn't hurt you going into this. You're going to end up with mud on your tires before the next gate anyway. The bonus gate wasn't all that hard, just kind of cruised through. It would have been not as fun with water on your tires, but luckily it dried out. Here we are working through this gate, just trying to keep the belly off the rock, fight through it a little bit, and on up to the next obstacle. Now this is where things start to go a little bit south for me, and I'm about to get very frustrated on this course. This gate in class 1 kicked my ass, and here in class 2 I thought without the body in the way I was going to be able to walk up through here. You have to stay balanced on these 2 rocks, kind of like a V-notch, but you have to turn out of the top, and there's a big overhang on the driver front. Now that I've got that rear tire trapped in there, the truck doesn't want to go forward, as well as there's a giant rock off my driver front too. So all in all, the truck is wedged down in this crack, and if I go any more passenger, it's going to start hitting the cone. So I need to try and work my truck through here. A lot of tension on this winch cable, trying to use the throttle to help me as much as possible. Things are looking good there. The winch starts pulling my truck into the rock. So as bad as it sucks, if I want to have the winch stick moved, it's going to cost me another winch. And I would rather have just moved the winch, because what happened here is my truck got so wedged in there, and my terrible mechanic skills of getting that cable clamped on there, I lost my winch. So the winch hook snapped off the cable, and where I had it clamped on, it was no longer clamped on. So at this point, I have no more winch, and I know that in this course, I'm going to need it in further gates on this course. I'm only on gate number 4 or 5, something like that. Taking a reverse right there, trying to bump up this ledge, end up killing the gate. Front driver tire gets stuck, and then I back all the way off the rocks. I roll all the way to the bottom, and now I'm stuck in a bush. So having the winch cable break, grabbing a reverse for no reason, grabbing another reverse, trying to get back up to where I was to try and fight my way back up to the top of this hill. It's very frustrating because I know that I don't have the time to fight through stuff like this, as well as I can't winch up this obstacle, and if I can't crawl it, what am I going to do, is what's going through my head. So I was starting to get very frustrated here. Rolled again, stuck in the weeds again, trying to get up this ledge again. Grabbed a reverse. The judge told me, he gave me progression on this because I got 2 tires through that gate. Grabbed another reverse, just trying to fight my way back up to this ledge, and I'm just trying to grab another reverse, work my array around. This truck is not fast, it doesn't have a ton of wheel speed, so covering a lot of ground is not easy on this thing. Getting stuck in weeds again here. Had to grab another reverse. Just dumb things like this that are so frustrating when you're just trying to get through the course smooth and everything starts turning into chaos. So I am not having it here, guys. I am really, if I'm completely honest, I was ready to grab my truck and leave at this point. I was super pissed off. I figured I had blown the whole thing. So end up deciding not to pick up my truck and go home. Side hill through this gate. That was a fun gate, I'll give it that. When I look at it and watch it, that was a fun, challenging one. Work our way to the next one. Luckily, I was having a pretty smooth run and a pretty smooth go up before my winch broke, and I hit that cone when my winch broke. Got through that gate clean. Shoot over some rocks. Got to try and avoid the weeds where possible because you don't want to end up stuck and having to reverse through them. Monster trucked right over those bushes. This gate in particular, you had to do some cool, weird winch magic stuff where you had to hook onto your own truck and pull it in different angles and stuff. It's just, I didn't think that was going to be possible without a winch. And like I proved, I hit the cone, ended up on my side there, quick little punch of throttle in reverse, was able to upright myself. Working our way through gate 8. This one was a crawlable obstacle, but I was real concerned with time. And honestly, I should have just taken a little more time and care to get through there clean. Because I'm amazed that even got up and out of there, honestly. That's not a good line. It wasn't good driving. I'm just very frustrated at this point. Gate number 9, as we move our way into this, very technical, very tough challenge. There are boundary lines all around the edge of the rock where that guy just set his hand. And so as I get the truck up and over here, drop into a big ravine, try not to tip over. You got to give it just a little bit of throttle when necessary to stop the truck from just tipping. So I was able to get the front end secured and planted down in there. I can get into gate 9 clean, but I can't make this corner without a winch. My original plan was to hook a winch to the winch stick way off the driver's side and pivot the truck around. So there's a boundary which costs a cone, and I just launch it into a bush, break the boundary, get that cone. And here we go, decide to back up out of there. Gate number 10, I've got like 30 seconds left to get to gate 10. Run our way over to this ledge. At this point, I don't care if I hit this gate or not. I just want to finish because a DNF cost me a whole bunch of points. Trying to crawl it, running out of time, like 10, 15 seconds. Working our way up. Again, I don't care if I hit it. Magically got through clean. Truck ends up over there on its roof, but here we go, get my winch hook back. Not happy that that's not on my truck. And very, very frustrating afterwards. In my mind, I was like, man, I completely blew this. This went horribly wrong. Super pissed off. After watching the footage, it's pretty evident that it really wasn't that bad of a run. I hit a couple cones, which it's going to happen. It's a rock crawling competition. Luckily for me, the other competitors also hit a couple cones. And with the good, solid first run on course 1, I think that's really what saved me here. Course number 2, obviously didn't go my way, but you know what? I'm really glad I didn't pick up my truck and walk away because I knew that I was thinking that in my head, which sounds awful to say, but I'm just being honest. I wasn't feeling great about it. But as they were reading through the scores, my name came up in first, which I was amazed. I was legitimately like, what? I won? Like, it was pretty dang funny. But yeah, super excited. Huge shout out and thank you to Rock Pirates RC as well as Sky RC Hobby Shop here in St. George, Utah. Those two guys are what make this truck competitive, and it's really been awesome. It's a super fun truck to go out and wheel. It's one of my most tough trucks and most reliable trucks as well. I take this thing out trail wheeling all the time because I know I can rely on it. Axial parts in there, Rock Pirates parts, and then whatever else I've picked up at Sky RC, like the Power Wagon body, the tires, the foams, stuff like that. Well, guys, that was my breakdown of my competition where I was able to just squeak out a win in that one. Super fun, just for bragging rights, no big deal. But to me, it's my first W on the list and looking to go get some more as well. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoy these style of videos. If you do, hit the share button. Go ahead and send this to one of your RC buddies, see if they like the style content as well, and ask them what they think of my videos. Feel free to comment down below if someone sent this video to you. I would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, guys, my name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Keep the rubber side down.